What's up, guys? Mr. Dan here, back again. Very excited today to review a documentary that perhaps many of you are unaware of. Very excited to pick this up. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, I got to get this. And as you can see, I went for a signed version. Let's take it out of the plastic and take a look. You see two posters in the back. I went for a whole bundle here. So whose autograph is that? Who do you think? Yeah, that's Bill Moseley. Okay, and he's one of the featured commentators that has been interviewed for this documentary by Mark Schiff called The History of Metal and Horror. So there you see the artwork on this card here. You see that there's the website metalhorror.com. Go ahead and check it out. And there you see the special, the Bill Moseley, the complete interview that comes obviously with this Bill Moseley edition. There were other special editions available. Some of them are no longer available, so if you're really interested, head over there real quick and see what they got. But we'll get into that in a minute. Let's throw these posters up on my wall here. I got plenty of extra magnets. And there you go. This is the full-length poster. You can see they got the names at the bottom. You can also go to the website, and they'll have the names and the band, you know what their connection is, whether they are writers or directors or what have you, under the picture. It's kind of fun to sort of test your knowledge and figure out who these people are. Some of them, like Bela Lugosi Jr., you might not recognize. It does kind of look like Bela Lugosi a little bit, but Doyle Wolfgang von Frankenstein, on the other hand, yeah, it's kind of familiar face. This is the other poster. Again, same as the card art that comes inside. Very cool looking. Look at Reagan there. Awesome. Leatherface and Kerry King duking it out. Kirk Hammett and Frankenstein's monster. Overall, I just thought this was a really solid documentary. Very well made, very well done. I did see someone post a comment where they said, yeah, it was kind of like, it was okay, but it was like more of the same. Well, okay. I mean, number one, I can't get enough of learning about what drew people into horror. That just fascinates me, especially when we're talking about movies that go back, you know, movies from the 50s and 60s that were on TV in the 70s to movies from the 70s and 80s when I was younger and when, you know, horror sort of affected me in a different way. A lot of these guys are around my age. And I'm also attracted to this type of music, and I'm familiar with the works of a lot of these artists. So, you know, like when Kirk Hammett from Metallica talks about, you know, what kind of drew him into horror films, you know, that to me that's fascinating. It might not be as interesting to some people. Now let's just talk about the production values of the documentary. Overall, it's well done. They start out with there's like a wraparound story, which is actually pretty clever. Probably not really necessary, but it didn't take away anything. It was actually pretty good. It was well done. You see this guy walking around like a post-apocalyptic world, scavenging for things. And I'll tell you that, like I said, the production values are pretty good. That little bit there is probably better than a lot of movies that we've seen. There's a lot of Dollar Tree theaters, films out there that wish they had that kind of feel to it. So he finds these old tapes. They look like 8-track tapes, to be honest with you. And one of them says horror and one of them says metal. And he puts one of them in and it gets stuck and he gets frustrated, and there's another port. Oh, I'm sorry. He finds an old warehouse with like an electric guitar and some old video equipment, and he plugs both tapes in simultaneously. And on the screen, who do we see? Michael Berryman, who's the host of the documentary. So he starts narrating a history of the horror and metal, and you know, as they go on, occasionally they come back to this guy watching the movie, and at one point he says out loud, well, why do I care about this stuff now? And then Michael Berryman responds to him. So he's like, what? You can hear me? So then it becomes interactive. And then there's a little thing that happens at the end, which is appropriately violent and surprising. I thought it was going to go in a different way. The wraparound story, that is. But it was, that part of it was well done. It's a well-made documentary, and they apparently worked on this for years, as at the end of the film, they have some, they pay tribute to people like Gunnar Hansen, who was interviewed in the film, and as we know, he's no longer with us. So, and, I definitely wanted to own this film. It is, if you go to their website, thehistoryofhorrormetal.com, you'll see that it's streaming on video, on Vimeo, so they're not trying to hide it. Now, and, as I said, I opted to get the Bill Moseley signed edition, and there were some others. You can look at the screen. I'm not going to tell you all of them because most of them are sold out. I believe right now, as I'm making the video, the one from Phil Ansamo is still available, and the signed, the version that's signed by the director is still available. And as you see, like, they have clips of this Bill Moseley interview in the documentary, but this is just basically a longer version of that at 28 minutes. So that does, none of these extra long interviews with Phil Ansamo and Bill Moseley, and I'll give you another one, Tom Savini, I don't believe any of those are on the internet. So that would be something you would need to buy one of these special editions to see, at the moment anyway. But yeah, they're not trying to hide it. It is easy to watch, but I just wanted to own a copy. I'm not a big autograph guy. I did get this autographed. I was happy that Metal Church came back after the death of Mike Howe, which was tragic, and with a new singer. So I did get this special edition Metal Church bundle, the album, the cassette tape, the disc, the CD, which is signed by all the members of the band. And I have one more signed item coming this summer, just because I thought it would be cool. So at any rate, let's get back to the documentary. Yeah, just really interesting to hear people like Corey Taylor talk about Black Sabbath and the origins. Most of the people know the story of that, how Black Sabbath, the band, took their name from Black Sabbath, the horror movie, and the connections there. And when I was on the Terrence McGuana channel on Psychobabble some months back, talking about heavy metal, we covered the Satanic Panic of the 1980s and discussed how politicians and other individuals were coming after heavy metal music and trying to put warning stickers on them, and how also Terrence has talked about at length how there was a banned list of video nasties in the United Kingdom, and one of the commentators, I forget who, said something that I wish I had said when I was on that stream. She basically said that horror and metal became co-defendants with each other during the Satanic Panic in the eyes of the public, and sometimes actually in the courtroom in various cases. I thought that was really clever, very illuminating. And, as far as the movies, I mean, these guys were inspired by everything from Jaws to some more obscure ones. I just saw for the first time, actually not for the first time, for the first time in a long time, The Omen 2 the other day. And one of the musicians talked about how a scene in that scarred him as a kid. Well, it didn't really affect me that much the other day, but then again, I'm not a 9-year-old kid. Where he grabs the Christ statue by the thorns and bleeds. So yeah, it's all, like I said, I can listen to people talk about how they got into horror movies all day. This was just really interesting. They have musicians, they have directors, and some musicians that you're not that familiar with, like Dookie Fleiswater, for example. They've got Guar in here, people from Ghoul and Metallica and Megadeth, Anthrax. They've got C.J. Graham in here and Dick Warlock. Dick Warlock was talking about Halloween 3 a little bit. Yeah, Halloween 3 was another one that some people saw it sort of out of context from the whole series, and yeah, it scared the hell out of them. Yeah, but Mike Schiff, the director, did a great job with this. Check him out. He's got a couple other films he's come out with. I definitely want to check them out. See, what other points do I want to make here? And they also have Mark Price. There he is, right in the corner. Now, who's Mark Price? I think he was on Growing Pains. He was the star of a little movie called, which I just got from eBay, bonus eBay find here, Trick or Treat. I've never seen this. Of course, every time someone talks about
the other Trick or Treat, the more current one, that most of us appreciate on a high level. You know, people come out and say, not to be confused with this one, or the one I just reviewed a couple weeks ago for Halfway to Halloween, the United Kingdom one.
This is the one with Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne. And my brother saw it a few minutes ago, and he was like, Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne? I was like, yeah, how did I not see this? But anyway, Mark Price talks about this movie. Really good part of the documentary. He really gives a good interview. So I'll be watching this for one of my Halloween themed films this year. So I'm sort of getting those put aside. Anyway, guys, are you guys interested in this? Tell me what you guys think. Which version would you have gone for if you had the opportunity? What do you think of this artwork and my posters? And, you know, let me know what kind of got you into horror movies as a kid. Also, let me know in the comments below, what is your favorite heavy metal song to appear in a horror movie? Could it be Flash of the Blade by Iron Maiden, perhaps? Or Dream Warriors by Dokken? Let me know in the comments below. All right, that's about it. Highly recommend The History of Metal and Horror. If you're a huge fan, owning the physical copy is well worth it in my opinion. If not, like I said, you can check it out on the interwebs streaming and tell me what you think. All right, later guys.